Hello my friends and welcome back to another edition of Miami Revealed. As always, your host Frank PICHEL, a server. Today is June 16th, 2024. Hard to believe that we've made it this far. With me as always, my good friend and former partner, CORREA. Nelson, welcome back to the...
Thank you guys. As many times as I've been on the show, I should be the co-host.
Well, you know what? Deal. Welcome back, my friends. Frank PICHEL and my co-host, CORREA.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Actually, you know, we're both hosts. There's no separation here. Who's better or who's what?
Nah,
That doesn't exist. It doesn't matter, but you're right. Co-host, CORREA. Or no, host, CORREA. Today we're going to call this a special edition of Miami Revealed because of all the craziness and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to call it because everybody's called it every word possible in every different languages of what happened this past weekend with the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump. Now, the title president is carried throughout the entire lifetime of any former president, the same with governors and senators, and the same with high-ranking judges. Not county court judges, but, you know, higher-ranking judges or judges of a higher statute or status. Nelson, I think it's appropriate that today we begin by pledging allegiance to our republic.
I agree.
You join me with that?
Of course, I'll be honored.
We can't stand up because the studio is not that large, but we'll do it sitting down, but thinking always at attention. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. God bless America. The reason why we want to do this special show is because Nelson and I participated in many presidential escorts and security. Nelson, tell us about your experience when you had to be, whatever you did for the presidential visits or the governor's visits, so that our friends, our audience, our supporters can understand exactly from a point of view of someone who actually did this.
Well, it's all about dignitary protection. Anybody that's a dignitary received the same kind of protection. And since we were assigned to the traffic unit, we got to do a lot of those dignitary protections. It starts with a sweep of the area where the president or the dignitary is going to be at. And that is a complete sweep of the whole entire general area, roofs, trees, you name it. It gets called checked. They bring a dog, a bomb dog, to check for explosives. They bring the presidential car that's going to be used, and they let the policeman look at the car, touch it, until such a time that they put those emblems on the doors. Then you
mean the seal of the president?
The seal of the president. Once they put those seals on the door, you cannot touch that car. So it was very in-depth during the Clinton and the Bush era, the older Bush. That's when we were mostly involved. And it was nothing like what we just saw.
We'll get into what we just saw, in a little bit, because this is going to be a lot to talk about. Was there a diagram as to the route that they were going to take?
Yes. The only thing we never knew was what route he was going to take in the airport, where he was going to land. Because when the president leaves, there's two Air Force Ones to take off, and nobody knows which one the president is actually in. So that's the only thing that we don't know offhand until he's about to arrive and touch down. That's when they let you know what runway he's going to be in, and then that's when all the motorcycles and all the escorts, the motorcade lines up to escort him to where he's going.
Well, I remember that because, remember, I was a motorcycle officer, and we did all the presidential escorts along with other police departments, motorcycle officers. They gave us more or less the same briefing. The only thing that they told us was, we had to escort the whole caravan of trucks and SUVs with the Secret Service and, the fire rescue truck, EMTs and all that. Because it's not just the president and a couple of cars, it's the president's limo. The Secret Service, usually they have 2 or 3 SUVs.
One of them is a crash car.
Right.
In case somebody or some car, and I mention somebody because even a pedestrian, if he gets in the route of the presidential escort, they'll take him out.
I was going to get to that. Because it's very interesting. Motor training for me was one of the most difficult training I ever undertook as a police officer, because it was long, tedious, very, very hot, sweaty, every inconvenience you can imagine they threw at us. But the most important one was the presidential escorts. And here's what they told me back then, and I was doing presidential escort for since Ronald Reagan was president. And I remember that when Air Force One, and back then it was a 707, 4-engine jet aircraft, and he would land, and we would line up all the motorcycles right to besides Air Force One, and greet the president. Now, the first thing that the Secret Service would look at was us, the cops. Why?
Because one of us could easily turn and kill the president. We're armed.
There.
We're right there in close proximity, and we could be hired for hit.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what they did. They got off and they walked up and down checking us all out. And I'm sure that before they even landed, weeks or long,
background check.
they did exactly. They background checked us all down to our socks. And well, they should have, because you never know somebody that's armed with a gun. Just because he's wearing a uniform doesn't make him a saint.
That could be an infiltrated one also.
It could be somebody had a fight with his wife this morning, or his girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it
He wants
is,
to make a name for himself.
and wants to be glorified. Okay, I don't see what glory there is in it, but you know what? Everybody has their mentalities, and in this sick world now, you know what? I'm going to put it better this way. I remember the scene in Casablanca where Humphrey Bogart told, what's her name? I forgot. She's
Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman, thank you. We was telling her, get out of here. This is a crazy, mixed up world that we live in. And there's no room for us to be happy together. And this is exactly what's happening to our nation, especially, but the entire world. Nobody's happy. Everybody's frustrated. Nobody has a voice. And if they do have a voice, there's always a counter voice to shut you up. But one of the things that's going to come out of this, hopefully, is that the nation has woken up to the fact that our government has failed. Our government has failed us. We, the builders and supporters of the government and for the republic for which it stands. Republic. We are not a democracy. Democracy has become a counter or code name for communism, national socialism, or whatever other ism there is. Now, back to the motorcade. When they briefed us, and they made no hesitancy to tell us, when we had to go and block all the entrances of the expressway so that no travel, car or personal travel was allowed in the route where the president's limousine and motorcade, there it is, motorcade, would take. And the Secret Service told us specifically and without any hesitation, they told us, when you pass the president's limousine to go and block the next intersection or on or off ramp, you better do it, you must do it on the left side. If you go on the right side, we're going to shoot you down, uniform and all. We'll kill you right there and then. Okay, so make no mistake about it. You pass only on the left. And boy, did we do that. Now, one of the things that is very difficult to understand or know, and perhaps many people don't know, is that almost every year in the entire United States, at least 2 or 3 motorcycle cops either are killed or injured in one of these barricades or motorcades, because it's so, you have to go like 100 miles an hour to catch up and block off the intersection. So you're just hauling. And that in and of itself is incredibly dangerous. Not because of speed, but because the amount of vehicles in the motorcade and the other officers on motorcycles and in police cars that are trying to get to the other intersection too. You get that tunnel vision and, you forget yourself because you're focusing on getting to your assigned position, because you do not want to let anybody down. You don't want to look bad. And your duty, sworn duty, is to protect the lives of the president, his staff. And we took that very seriously.
Oh, we had to.
When you swear, Nelson, that's like an oath.
You didn't want to be the omen or the one that messes up, because then you're labeled for life.
Well, that's quite true. But again, we did it because we took an oath. And our oath was our persona. That was us. That oath represented us, whoever gave the oath to.
And we knew what we were getting into, Frank.
Well,
We knew.
Exactly.
When we took the oath, we knew what the risks were involved. We knew what the job was about. And it's funny because nowadays you see a lot of young cops that say, no, if I don't work a day shift with Saturdays, Sundays off, I won't do it. I didn't see weekends off for many years until I built enough seniority.
How about midnights? How many years did you and I work midnights?
Oh, well, I did it by choice.
Well, I did it because, I had no choice. I mean, that was my assignment. So, you know what, as a police officer and later on as a sergeant. Now, you know that I did dignitary protection, from President Bush to his brother, Jeb, and several governors of the state of Florida, and other presidents or high-ranking leaders of other nations. So, we were the guys, I used to wear the suit with the glasses. Everybody thinks that's so cool. Well, until you do it.
Okay. Remember the Summit of the Americas?
Of course.
Where all the presidents were here?
Yes, I did.
We had more than our hands full.
Well, I remember my first assignment, I was a rookie, to dignitary protection was when Queen Elizabeth and the whole NATO alliance met here in Versailles, in the Grove. You remember that?
No, that I don't remember, but I heard about it.
Well, I was there. I got to see the Queen. Of course, you can't say hi to her, but you can hear her. But it was an honor to represent her former Majesty. God bless her soul. She went through a lot in her life, but you know what? She stood strong. She stood very strong, losing loved ones and having her palace burnt down, and all the other scandals that came up left and right. And the only reason why she was involved was, why? She was the Queen.
Of course.
And the buck stops where?
It stops with the Queen.
Exactly. Because she is the not only the sovereign of the United Kingdom, but she's also the in charge of all the military of the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Parliament is one thing, but their constitutional monarchy says that she or he, now Charles, is the leader or the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United Kingdom. That is not a light burden to carry.
No.
Okay, because that's on your mind 24/7. What if this happened? What if that? So people think that the presidency, being a king or queen, has all these merits and stuff like that. Let me tell you, how many parties can you go in one day or in 1 week doing the same thing over and over again? I remember the one time I said, were you the same as airlines, flight attendants or stewardess back then, say bye-bye, bye-bye, hello, hello, hello. That's how they did, because day in and day out. That gets to you, that gets to anybody, the monotony. But anyway, so the last assignment I did was in Washington for the second inauguration of George W. Bush. Everybody can think whatever they want about him. History will prove him right or wrong, as they do with all the other presidents or anybody else. At first they start terrible, okay, and then in retrospect, people start analyzing the reality of that, because it's muddied in the press. I don't know if you guys, anybody knows what the news stands for. The news stands for North, South, East, and West. That's where we get North, South, East, the acronym news. Because we're reporting on every corner of the world of what's happening. The BBC was excellent for that for many decades. But anyway, back to the scenario of President Trump's assassination attempt. And you know what bothers me a lot? That in the beginning, just from the get-go, they didn't call it an assassination attempt. That was a slap and a spit in all our faces. And whoever made those comments, I spit back in your faces. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're nothing but dirty, god-darn traitors. And again, like I've always said, in my opinion, in the opinion of the Constitution, in many law cases, anybody that violates the Constitution or violates the rights of another individual that's protected under the Constitution is therefore a traitor to our nation and the Constitution. And that includes from governors, president, CEO, NCO, WXYZO, who cares? Who cares? What, strikes me very funny is that, all these left-wingers that used to criticize Trump and call him the Antichrist and call him the next Hitler, Genghis Khan. I mean, everybody.
They even say he was going to start the next World War.
Yeah.
World War III.
Yeah. That's so underhanded and unprofessional. There should be very steep fines and perhaps criminal prosecution for people that do that kind of, I'm not even going to call it journalism. I'm going to call it just talking crap. Because, unfortunately, news is very powerful. Movies are very powerful. Talk shows are very powerful. Right, Stephen? And I'm talking about my buddy CORREA. and Stuart, I love watching your show the other day. And boy, I watched your shows for decades. And it's funny how you guys had completely turned around and woke up and smelled the coffee. I hope it's not too late. It's not too late. You can always make amends. I know you comedians, And that's fine with me. But however, you know, in your position, just like in our position as cops and whatever, we made decision.
That's right.
And we own those decisions, right?
That's right.
You know,
You have to.
it was a sworn duty.
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, we're gonna right now take a break, and then we'll come back in the next segment with a follow-up and very important newsletter and text messages that I received from former police chiefs, former deputy police chiefs, former majors of police, and I'm not talking about people that have 5, 10 years. We're talking about people that have over 30 or 40 years of law enforcement experience. So I think they know a little something, something. So we'll be back soon. God bless you. God bless America. Thank God, President Trump, that you're alive and well. And now that whoever or whatever, God, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, the universe has seen fit to spare your life.
Thank God.
Because there couldn't be more of a close call than that bullet going through and out of his ear.
Millimeters to the right, and he wouldn't probably be here.
Probably not even that, probably half a millimeter. And it would just, because of that high power velocity of that bullet, remember, it goes in with all that supersonic air behind it, enters your skull, and when it comes out the front, it just blows it up like a grenade.
Yes.
Because, you know, again, it's traveling at 3,000 miles per hour. I don't know how many feet per second, but, you know, the wind that it's carrying, you know, imagine it like a tidal wave in the ocean. You throw a rock and there's ripples. Well, that bullet is carrying ripples of supersonic air behind it. But we'll need that for another segment when we plan to have a weapons expert here on our show. Again, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you very soon. God bless America. God bless you, Mr. Trump.
God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th President of the United States and soon to be the 47th President of the United States, please welcome Donald J. Trump. Defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no